Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're really digging into the Cleveland Browns, specifically that quarterback room heading into 2025. It's complicated.
It really is. And we've got this detailed analysis we're working from, sort of lays out one potential path forward for them.
Right. So our mission today is to pull out the key thinking, the main arguments around who stays, who goes, and, why.
Exactly. The piece dives deep into all five guys currently in the mix. Flacco, the rookies, Sanders and Gabriel, plus Watson and Pickett. And it lands in a pretty bold suggestion.
Which is?
Flacco and the rookies. Trade Watson and Pickett. Shake things up significantly.
Okay, wow. Let's start with Joe Flacco then. He's back, 1 year, $4 million. Is this just nostalgia or something more?
The analysis argues it's definitely strategic. I mean, yeah, everyone remembers that run he had in 2023.
How could you forget?
Right. But bringing him back, it's about stability right now. And leadership, especially with younger guys coming in.
That 2023 stint was remarkable. Comes in late, goes 4-1, gets them to the playoffs.
Yeah.
That's impact.
Huge impact. And the analysis highlights, he knows Stefanski's system already. He can still sling it downfield. And he's got that calm veteran presence under pressure. He's seen it all.
The stats from just those 5 games were pretty wild, too. Over 1,600 yards, 13 touchdowns, rating over 90.
And comeback player of the year, you can't just brush that aside.
No way.
So, look, nobody thinks he's the answer for the next decade. But as a bridge, someone to keep things steady and, importantly, mentor these young QBs, the piece makes a strong case he's perfect for that role.
Okay, speaking of the young QBs, let's shift to Shedeur Sanders, drafted in the 5th round. Seems like that draft spot is already part of his story.
Oh, definitely. The background here is key. People were talking first round for him at one point, so slipping to the 5th. The article says he's got a massive chip on his shoulder now.
You hear that phrase a lot.
Yeah, and beyond that, look at his college numbers, his leadership at Colorado. Those are real things.
And the early buzz from rookie minicamp seems pretty positive, right?
It does. They're talking about the arm strength, his poise, for a rookie. And just that competitive edge he brings, sure, there'll be rookie moments, inconsistent decisions maybe.
Of course.
The upside, it's undeniable, according to this analysis.
There's even that quote from Emmanuel Acho floating around about how Sanders is already kind of galvanizing the team, especially the rookies.
Exactly. Those intangibles matter.
Yeah.
And this analysis frames him not just as some project, but as a guy with real franchise QB potential down the road, a valuable piece for their future.
All right, now the other rookie, Dillon Gabriel, 3rd round pick, higher than Sanders. What's his story? He bounced around a bit in college.
He did, but productively. UCF, Oklahoma, then Oregon, and he racked up stats everywhere. Tied for the most career passing TDs in FBS history. That's something.
Wow, okay. Consistency across different systems.
Exactly. And his final year at Oregon, they were dominant. 13-1, number 1 seed in the playoff.
You like seeing that winning pedigree?
Absolutely. And his stats that year were super efficient, almost 73% completion, nearly 4,000 yards, 30 TDs, only 6 picks. That accuracy, that ball security teams love that.
The analysis mentions Dan Orlovsky was pretty high on him too, compared him to Tua.
Yeah, specifically highlighting his accuracy, anticipation, how he distributes the ball. That's high praise, comparing him to Tua Tagovailoa.
It really is.
Orlovsky sees those key NFL traits. And look, the fact that the Browns took Gabriel before Sanders, even though some saw Sanders maybe having a higher ceiling, well, it suggests front office sees something really solid, maybe even more ready long-term potential there too.
Okay, so we have Flacco, the vet, Sanders, the high upside rookie, Gabriel, the experienced, accurate rookie. Now, the tough part, the analysis suggests moving on from Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, this is where it gets really serious. The assessment of his time in Cleveland is pretty stark. Injuries are a huge factor.
2 Achilles ruptures back-to-back, likely out for all of 2025.
Exactly. And even when he has played, the performance just hasn't matched that massive, massive contract.
19 games, 9-10 record, 19 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, compared to $230 million. Fully guaranteed.
The disconnect is just huge. It's one of the biggest contracts ever, and the return hasn't been there. The article flat out states many see that trade as, well, one of the worst in recent NFL history.
Ouch. So the argument is, rip the Band-Aid off.
Basically, yeah. Trading him, even if it means eating a lot of money, does a few things. Frees up cap space eventually, removes a constant source of distraction, frankly.
Lets them focus.
Lets them fully commit to developing Sanders and Gabriel. Build around them.
But trading him won't be easy, right? With the injury, that contract.
Oh, incredibly difficult. Huge hurdles. But the analysis argues the potential upside, the cap flexibility, the clear direction makes it worth exploring every single option, however painful financially in the short term.
Okay, that makes sense strategically, even if it's tough practically. What about Kenny Pickett? He just got here. Why is he the odd man out in this plan?
Well, a couple of things. They traded for him, yes, but then they declined his fifth-year option pretty quickly.
That's usually a sign.
It is. It signals they don't see him as a long-term fixture. And his career so far, it's been inconsistent. Okay, back up in Philly, but struggled as a starter in Pittsburgh before that.
And looking at the room now, where does he play?
Exactly. You've got Flacco as the vet starter mentor. You've got the two rookies they just drafted who they clearly want to develop. Pickett's path to actually getting on the field looks really blocked.
Most teams only keep 3 QBs on the active roster anyway.
Right, so carrying Flacco, Sanders, Gabriel, and Pickett just doesn't seem likely.
So trading Pickett might be best for everyone.
That's the idea. Browns maybe get a late-round pick back, recoup a little value, Pickett gets a chance somewhere else, maybe a clearer path to compete for playing time, a fresh start.
So, pulling it all together, keep Flacco, Sanders, Gabriel. Trade Watson, trade Pickett. What are the big picture strategic wins here, according to the analysis?
Okay, number one, stability and mentorship. Flacco provides that right now, guides the young guys, keeps you competitive.
Got it.
Number two, development. You fully invest in Sanders and Gabriel. They're your future. Treat them that way. Give them the reps, the coaching focus.
Makes sense.
And the money. Financial flexibility. That's huge.
Yeah.
Getting out from under even part of that Watson deal plus Pickett's expiring contract, it frees up serious cash to build the rest of the roster.
Which they'll need if they're relying on young QBs.
Exactly. Then there's, locker room cohesion. A respected vet, hungry rookies that can be a really positive dynamic. We heard about Sanders already making an impact there.
Yeah.
And finally, it just provides clear direction. Everyone knows the plan. We're building around these young guys with Flacco leading the way for now. No more ambiguity.
So under this plan, the depth chart for 2025 looks like?
Flacco starting, the bridge QB. Then Sanders and Gabriel as the developmental guys, maybe battling for the backup spot, both getting groomed. Pickett and Watson, they're off the roster via trade or release. A focused three-man room.
Okay, so wrapping up our deep dive here, the core recommendation we've unpacked is pretty clear. Flacco, Sanders, Gabriel stay, Watson and Pickett are moved.
That's the takeaway. It's presented as a way to balance being competitive now with building for the long haul. Plus, the financial freedom and hopefully finally bringing some stability to that QB position for the Browns.
It definitely signals a focus on building something sustainable, using Flacco's experience while nurturing those two rookies. Feels like a potential turning point.
It really does, and it leaves you with this thought, right? If they do go this route, what does it mean for everything else? How does this quarterback strategy change how they build the entire team? What other pieces do they absolutely need to add to make sure Sanders or Gabriel, whoever emerges, actually succeeds long term? Makes you think about the whole roster construction.